everyone, my name is Junon. I have a health science background, and I'm the author of the book Truth and Empathy, How to Find Your Soulmate. And I'll put a link to the book below. This video is about the romantic compatibility between INFPs and INTJs. I think that most people have asked themselves the question, who's the best match romantically than the person, especially long term, based on certain characteristics. And I think that MBTI personality type is a good starting point. So let's look at what INFPs and INTJs have in common. Obviously, they're both intuitive. So these are people who, when they look at the world and they're gathering data, they don't so much focus on the five senses, but what is beyond that. So in other words, they're picking up a sort of information that is more of a download. So you'll see that a lot of intuitives will say that they know something, but they don't know how they got to the answer. So it's not about gathering data and see the pattern and then be able to say, well, this is what's going to happen. Because intuition is really about picking up what is different, so that is not sort of like predictable, versus, let's say, if you were more of a sensor who needs to see the pattern of the data and be able to see that most likely that's what's going to happen in the future. So they're going to understand each other on that level. Obviously, they're both introverts, so it means that these are people who get energized by being alone or with a few close friends and family members. So you'll see that, especially with intuitives, is that if, let's say, they have intuition combined with introversion, they're a bit more introverted than sensors who are introverts as well. So you'll see that with intuitives, they have one of the best energies, so they get easily drained by spending time with a lot of people who are obviously a mixture of different personality types. Now, when it comes to the challenges that this couple may face, is that obviously one is a feeler and the other one is a thinker. So what you'll see is that feelers obviously are right brain dominant. These are people who tend to be compassionate, they love hugs, they're very fishy affectionate, and also they make most of the decisions based on the case of INFPs, their own ethics and own morals. And obviously they have their thinking function at the lower level. So when it comes to the INFP, they have their thinking from the head, which is extrovert thinking, as their fourth function. So they're not very logical when they make decisions. By contrast, the INTJ has extrovert thinking as its second function. So this is a very left brain dominant type of personality type, which means that these are people, when they look at a situation, they really look at the logic of it, and they will not appreciate that someone else is not able to see life through the logical lens. So they will probably clash on that level. So the INFP will look at the INTJ think, oh, well, this person is heartless, or doesn't really is in touch with their feelings, or basically making decisions based on ethics and morals, whereas the INTJ will look at the INFP and say, well, this person is very illogical, like you need to, in a sense, make sense. The other aspect is that even in terms of their conversations, I mean, because of the fact that the INTJ is object directed, whereas the INFP is people oriented. In other words, they won't have that much in terms of like what they can discuss. So the INFP will always sort of want to bring any topic or any subject back to, okay, how the person feels, the human element, in terms of basically what has to do with being a human being. Whereas the INTJ, when it comes to being a thinker, they are about the abstraction of the concrete. So they're really like not really interested in, and probably the INTJ will focus more on math and science, something it is measurable, and that will not interest the INFP. INFP usually are not that good in math and science. This is not their area of expertise or strength. The other hurdle they might face is the fact that they have a different organizational style. So the INFP is a perceiver, which means that they like to do things at the last minute. They're spontaneous. These are people who don't mind even being late or having an issue even with time management. Whereas the INTJ, being a judger, is structured, reliable. They like to also finish whatever they started. So that will probably create an issue in this relationship. To summarize, I think it's a very poor match because although they're both intuitives and introverts, they have a number of aspects that don't match with each other. One is very much a feeler, the other one is a thinker, one is a receiver, and the other one is a judger. So in other words, in terms of being able to have a subject conversation that they would like, or even how they organize their lives, they want to understand each other on an emotional level, on a spiritual level as well, because the INFP, the theme of their life is meaning and spirituality, whereas the INTJ, the theme of their lives is power and knowledge. So they don't have the same focus. So I would say that this is not a match that I would recommend. So let me know if you agree or disagree with the content of this video by commenting below. If you like this video, if you learned something, please click on the like button. Remember to click on the notification bell to be notified of the videos I'm going to be making. Subscribe to my channel, and we will talk soon.